UFC Fight Night Tybura vs. Spivac 2 was not the most stacked card ever. The main event had pretty lower level ranked heavyweights. They're not low level heavyweights, but in terms of the fighters in the rankings, Jailton Almeida and up is kind of the more high level skilled heavyweights. Everyone below that, including Marcin and Serghei, are kind of the lower level guys in terms of the ranked guys at 265 pounds. But wasn't a great card. There's a few good moments here and there, a few good fights here and there, but not a lot of big names or anything. It was one of the cards going into it. Everybody had low expectations for it. Again, there were some cool moments, some performance of the night moments with Toshio Mikazama having a crazy one, Karol Rosa having a great performance, Chepe Mariscal having an amazing performance, but we're going to be booking every winner for this UFC Fight Night with who they should fight next. If you do want to see maybe every loser and who they should fight next, comment down below. But we're going to just do the winners of this entire card, starting with the main event, Serghei Spivac, and we're going to give him Curtis Razor Blaydes. Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Blaydes just fought for the interim title for the UFC heavyweight division, and that's the number one guy that Curtis Blaydes has just lost to. He also did lose in the heavyweight division to Serghei Pavlovich, so it's not like we're going to give Curtis anybody above him in the rankings. We're not going to give him Stipe, who's below him. He already beat Jailton Almeida, and then Serghei is going to be right at number 8. So let's do number 5 versus number 8. I've been making this point all week. UFC, Dana White, I'm going to flip you off if you make Curtis Blaydes, Serghei Spivac a fight night main event. There's no need for this to be 5 freaking rounds. What are you doing? Stop doing heavyweight main events if they're not Ciryl Gane, Aspinall, John Jones, one of those type of guys. Stop doing freaking main events unless it's one of those kind of names in the heavyweight division. I don't want to see Serghei Spivac on a poster. Let's just be straight up with everybody here. But put this on a pay-per-view, UFC 309, UFC 310, have it as the feature prelim, have it as the first fight on the main card. I don't care. It's a good fight. I think stylistically Curtis defends the takedowns and knocks out Serghei Spivac on the feet, or it's really, really boring. I think it's either going to be a fast KO from Curtis Blaydes, or it'll be a boring back-and-forth grappling match. I'm hoping for that knockout because I want to see Curtis Blaydes back in the win column, but that's the fight I'd make next for the main event. Then we got the co-main, again, 30-25, 30-24, 30-20. I don't know. There's a lot of 10-8s in that fight for Chepe Mariscal, but he missed weight, so again, I'm going to flip you off, Chepe. Make your freaking weight. We're not going to give him a top 15 because, again, he missed weight. He doesn't deserve a top 15 fight if he's going to go out there and not be a professional and not make the contracted weight limit. We're giving him Youssef Zalal, who also had a great win earlier on in the card. 15-5-1 now. Submission win after submission win inside of the UFC. When he left the UFC, 2 round 1 knockouts in a row over 2 very, very legit guys with solid winning records. Again, he only lost in his last stints in the UFC to Ilia Topuria, who's a champion, Sean Woodson, who's about to be ranked, and that was a very, very close one. Then Sungwoo Choi, that's a little iffy there, but he fought Chepe Mariscal back in 2019. It was a fun fight. Let's do a rematch here. They're both on win streaks. They're both on finishes, or no. Well, Chepe is not on a finish, but Youssef is on some finishes. Chepe is on 2 decisions, and he missed weight. Don't give him a top 15. I think this would be a fun one for the main card of any UFC fight night, of course. Put it as the third to last fight. Right before the co-main event, have these guys battle it out. Winner, I think, could start looking at maybe an Alex Caceres type of a guy. Maybe a Nate Landwehr type of a guy. They win that one, top 15 after that. But Chepe, you gotta win 1 more, maybe 2 more. Because you missed weight. Unprofessional, fat blob you are. Shouldn't be talking like this. He's going to pull up to my house and knock me out because I got a horrible chin. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Chepe Mariscal. Then we got Danny Barlow. I didn't like the performance. I want to be straight up with you guys. I didn't like the performance. He was a little bit too passive at times, but maybe it was a smart game plan. Maybe he saw something in Nikolai Veretanikov's fight film that thought maybe if I really do go for the finish, I'm gonna get caught and get knocked out. So maybe Danny Barlow had a smart strategy here, but it just wasn't that fun of a fight. I want to test them though. That's two guys. Nikolai's 0-1 in the UFC. Josh Kinlan went 1-3 in the UFC's welterweight division. I really want to test Danny Barlow. He's undefeated. He really hasn't fought a super good name in the UFC yet. Santiago Ponzinibbio's coming off 2 losses in a row. He's a solid name, a skilled veteran in the welterweight division, and would be a very fun fight. I don't see how. Even if Danny goes out there with a similar game plan to tonight, Ponzinibbio pushes the pace. He comes forward and makes most of his fights very, very fun, striking affairs. So I like that one. If he's able to get past Santiago, he's going to be pretty close to possibly fighting in the top 15. Santiago, win one more, top 15. After 4 fights in the UFC, if he's able to get past this very, very tough test at 170 pounds. I'm going to expose Chris Gutierrez here. I like Chris Gutierrez as a fighter. I think he's a little bit too passive, kind of like Danny Barlow at times with the counter punching, but a lot of his fights are very, very fun. The Pedro Munoz fight, I thought it was pretty good. The Frankie Edgar knee, that was awesome. The spinning back fist on Batjidil Dana was very, very cool. Alateng Hili, pretty back and forth. Yadong Song is able to survive the full 5 rounds. It was a fun one as well, but we saw a path to victory for anybody that fights Chris Gutierrez. Is his grappling and wrestling is not there. It's not there. And Said Nurmagomedov, he's a guy where I'm going to go out and look at the bantamweight rankings really quickly, because Gutierrez is at number 16, so he's ranked right outside of the top 15. Said Nurmagomedov, am I blind or did I miss him? He should be high up here, right? Never mind. He's at 15 right here. Only has lost to Jonathan Martinez, who is ranked. Chris Gutierrez also lost to only ranked guys. Yadong Song and then Pedro Munoz was at number 15 when they fought. So I'd like to see Said and Chris Gutierrez go at it. Winner would be 2 in a row since losing to a ranked fighter, and that could propel him right back in to fighting another ranked guy. I like this matchup a lot. It would really test Chris Gutierrez's grappling and wrestling and ground game, because God, it did not look good against Quang Lee. Quang Lee might have just looked really, really good, but I think a lot of it had to do with Chris just not having good defense there. So I'd like to see Said test Chris Gutierrez there. It's a fun one, co-main event of Apex Fight Night again, and should be a good one at 135 pounds. What do we got next? We got Yana Santos and Penny Kianza. They both fought on this card. Penny Kianza didn't look good. She got destroyed with those leg kicks, destroyed with the jabs, with the elbows cutting up her forehead. Yana Santos had an amazing performance against Chelsea Chandler, who missed weight by so much. Again, fatty. Chelsea Chandler, what are you doing? Make your freaking weight. My God. But Yana Santos looked good. Outstruck Chelsea Chandler, knocked her down at one point in the fight with that freaking did she knock her down? She wobbled her at one point in the fight with it was like a front kick to the face, I think. I don't know if it hit with the heel or with like the palm of her foot. I'm not too sure, but she landed amazing strikes on Chelsea Chandler. I like Penny Kianza and Yana Santos mainly in terms of a rankings perspective, because Yana's at number 12, Penny's at number 11. You can't really give Yana too far of a step up, because, you know, she has lost to Carol Hosa, who's right there, and she's lost to a few of the girls above in the rankings as well. So it's not really like we could give Yana a big step up, because she was on a 3-fight losing streak. She only is on a 1 win in a row against number 14. I like number 11, number 12. Winner gets a top 10 fight. Loser fights an unranked girl after that one. And it's a fun one. Yana Santos Penny should be a fun striking affair. What do we got after that? Toshiomi Kazama. We're going to give 2 guys that were 0-2. Toshiomi's now 1-2 in the UFC. Jesse Butler is 0-2 in the UFC. I don't want to see Jesse Butler get a 4th fight if he loses here, and I don't want to see Toshiomi get a new UFC contract if he loses here. This is literally a fight for their lives, their contracts, their UFC career is going to be determined based on this fight. They're both very good on the ground, good jiu-jitsu, good submission skills, good finishing ability on both sides. But again, they're both lower level guys in this bantamweight division. I like to see a winner get that new contract if it is Toshiomi. If Jesse Butler gets the win, we give him that last 4th fight in the UFC. If he wins that one, maybe a new contract. But if Toshiomi or Jesse Butler loses, Whoever loses is gone out of the UFC. This is a fight for their contract. Toshiomi versus Jesse Butler on the prelims of any fight card. I don't have a preference, so whatever card they could kind of think of. What do we got after that? KOes, man, I'm a fan. I love you. I said that in the last video. I gotta stop saying that because she is lesbian, but I am a big fan of KOes. She had an amazing performance yet again. Let's give her Mayra Bueno Silva. I believe in the career of KOes. She's had a few moments where, you know, fights could have definitely gone either way. Really, really close back and forth ones. Irene Aldana was very close. The Norma Lamont fight was very, very close. But overall, in the UFC, she's 7-3. Has beaten ranked Pannie Kianzad, ranked Yana Santos. Betchko Hera, former title challenger. Lena Landsberg was ranked at one point as well. And she's looking pretty good in a lot of these fights. Win or lose is having some fun ones. And looking just at the rankings, we can't do a Norman Demott rematch. I personally want Miesha Tate Holly Holm to happen at some point. Put it on the main card of a pay-per-view and make it 5 rounds. Let's do a rematch between 2 former champions. Then we got Mayra Bueno Silva right there. Number 6 versus number 8. I like it. Let's do it on the Fight Night main card of your choosing. Then we got Shamil Gaziev. Just kidding, that's not Shamil. That's Shamil's BIT something. I'm not gonna. YouTube, you always kind of censor what I say on here, so I gotta be a little bit careful here. But Jonathan Denise versus Martin Boudet. Martin Boudet is kind of the gatekeeper, I would say, of the heavyweight division top 10. He is a big test for a lot of guys in this heavyweight division. Not a lot of guys are able to get past this test that is Martin Boudet. Is it not going to let me go in and check the rankings? But yeah, Martin Boudet only loss in the UFC is going to be to Shamil Gaziev, the greatest of all time. John Jones is ducking this guy. It's not letting me in there. But Shamil Gaziev went out there, put on the pressure, TKO'd him. I believe Jonathan Denise can do the same thing. But again, it's another big test because Martin does have good wrestling. He's got good clinch, good grappling, and things like that. Good test. Fight Night main card. Winner gets a top 15 opponent. Martin Boudet lost to Shamil, beat Andrei Arlovsky, although it was pretty boring. But let's do this one on the Fight Night main card. If you're choosing UFC, winner into that shallow top 15. Heavyweight is such a joke. Stephanie Luciano, impressive performance. 30-27 on the judges' scorecards against undefeated Talita Alenzar, who at the time was 1-0 in the UFC. So she beat an undefeated girl. She is now 1-0 in the UFC. And let's give her a girl, I believe, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think Mizuki Inu is 2-1 in the UFC. She's just really inactive inside of the UFC, but she's 2-1. Stephanie is 1-0. I think that makes sense based on where their records are at inside of the UFC. Let's do Mizuki, Stephanie, Luciano, prelims of any card. If Stephanie wins, let's get her a big step up after that one. If she can win impressively. If Mizuki wins, give her a new contract. She'd be 3-1 in the UFC. But that's what I got. This fight right here, we got Martin Boudet, Jonathan Denise, KOes, Mayra Bueno Silva, Jesse Butler, Toshiomi Kazama. We got Pannie Kianzad, Yana Santos, Chris Gutierrez, Said Nurmagomedov, Santiago Ponce-Nibio, and Danny Barlow, Youssef Zalal taking on Chepe Mariscal. And we got Curtis Razor Blaydes taking on Serghei Spivac. Thank you guys for watching this Fights to Make next video. And yeah, like and subscribe, do all that weird stuff. If you want to see all the bets we make for UFC 305, which is coming out very, very soon, yeah, link in the pinned comment or the top link in the description. If you want to support the channel, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you. Again, like I always say, we might not see you in the next one. You might have hated this video, but if we do see you in the next one, see you then.